ongoing popular fanfic by Wishluv, and it's based off of Clam's card Captor Sakura. In each episode, we'll do a deep dive of each chapter. Let's get into it. First up is Alliance of the Stars. So right after Melanie and I recorded the chapter 21, we hopped onto YouTube and we were so happy to see a couple of comments from Diana.
Yay!
Diana, aka Rulona20, is a long time fan, an active fan of the fandom. So if you've been around, you know Diana. And I was so happy to see from her, and we had a lovely, lovely time reading the comments that she left on YouTube that Melanie is going to get into.
Diana, we fangirled so hard, and it was even more so because we're in person sitting next to each other right now reading your comments, and we absolutely loved it. So anyway, the first one she left us was on New Trials, the audiobook, the prologue, and Diana said, "This is the first time I comment in a YouTube video, but it's only fitting that it'd be on a video on New Trials. New Trials will always have a special place in my heart. First thoughts, this was so much fun and so soothing to listen to. I'm really looking forward to the other chapters and the podcast. Great job." Yay! Thank you so much, Diana. And then she also commented on our New Trials, the podcast prologue, and Diana said, "This was so much fun. I'm 8 months late to the party, but I'm glad that I am, which is surprising since I hate being so late. In the last year and so, I've grown to appreciate audiobooks and grown to warm up to podcasts since they're more misses than hits to me. But this hits the mark for me. It's the first time I enjoyed every second of the podcast. I kind of wanted to jump into the conversation and share my thoughts about the prologue as well as to share how I learned about CCS, fanfiction, and New Trials. I always love learning how others got into CCS, anime or manga, fanfiction, and New Trials. New Trials has been a part of my life since I was 13. 13 years later, man, I feel old. And I'm so happy that I found it when I did. I always remember that summer so fondly, and I can thank Wish-chan for part of it. Little 13-year-old me was beyond amazed at the confidence and determination that 13-year-old Wish-chan had to write a fic and share it with the world. I'm looking forward to the next chapters. Take care."
Thank you, Diana.
Aww. And oh gosh, you'll have to make sure you be a part of our next Q&A we do at the end of Arc 2 so we can hear your thoughts on prologue and stuff.
Like, Diana, I was gushing about you to Melanie. It's like, not only did she's written some spin-off fan fiction, this is her artwork. I pulled up your DeviantArt in 2 seconds. And then, like, she's our grade 5, like, resident. Yes. She knows everything about them. If I have any questions, I always ask her.
I love it. Love it, love it, love it.
So in this chapter, we have the Spring Carnival, which is a circus. And I'm from Montreal, so we're kind of known for Cirque du Soleil. And I was lucky enough to go to quite a few performances. The last one that I went to was back in July of last year. And I actually bought the tickets like 2 months after I started dating Cameron. And it's like, I felt pretty confident about the relationship. And like, little did you know, we did end up going together. And it's like, yes, I have faith in the relationship. I'm going to buy these really expensive tickets and we're going to go. And we did. We had a fabulous time. I wore a really pretty dress that used to belong to my aunt. It had like flower embroidery in the front and back. I was like super overdressed, but I didn't really care because I wanted to wear the dress. I'll post a picture on Facebook for all of you. But yes, Cirque du Soleil, amazing experience. They're also at Vegas. If you ever get the chance to go, definitely check it out.
So I have always wanted to go to Cirque du Soleil, but it never really comes to Kansas City. And Pete and I, on one of our first dates together, I really wanted to go to a circus. And Barnum and Bailey, that big circus, was here in town for Kansas City. And so it was like literally one of our first dates, and we decided to go to see the circus together. And I think we were the only couple in that sea of people that did not have children. Like, everybody had small children, hordes of kids, and we were just surrounded. And I told Preya, I was like, I think we ended up leaving like a little bit early because we were both just so overstimulated by like the amount of toddlers and children.
Well, you got the real question is, did you enjoy yourself at the circus?
Yes, and I actually got us like really good seats, and like I loved it, and I thought it was so much. I've always loved circuses, and I just think they're so much fun. But so then another thing I was going to bring up about this chapter is I have the biggest fear of clowns, and the fact that the main villain for the next couple of chapters is the Joker, which is a clown, like it freaks me out. Like I tried to, even in the audiobook chapter, I was gonna do like like kind of like a clown voice for him, but even just and I'm so glad that Wish Chan really doesn't make him talk, because even just trying to do that voice, it freaked my own self out. And like there was one point in the chapter where I was gonna make him laugh, like especially when he puts like the oil slick on the banister. I was gonna have him go, or something, like, but I couldn't do it, like, I was like freaking myself out.
I think that was good because like I'm sitting here and I'm feeling freaked out by the voice. So good call. Today we'll be discussing chapter 22, No More Solitude. This chapter was released in February 2001. The word count is 10,566 words. Now, it starts off in March, where they're finishing 8th grade, and then it moves into April, where they start 9th grade without any much fanfare.
So true.
And time to move on to the summary. Terada-sensei announced that the class was going to organize a circus-themed event for the spring carnival to raise money for the children's hospital. On White Day, Syaoran brought candy and roses with Melin, and they ran into Tagashi, who had a wrap box in his arms for Chiharu. Sakura was sad to see a picture of Syaoran giving roses to Erika in the newspaper, but later on he told Melin he was just a messenger for another person. Syaoran wasn't able to give his gift to Sakura since Aaron beat him to it. At the Kinomotos, both Toya and Fujitaka had to leave home at the same time for school in London and work across Japan, and this would be for months. Sakura said she'd stay with Tomoyo. Even Kira-chan was leaving with Yue to research the new force. Before her father left, Sakura learned that he loved another before Nadeshiko. She noticed a picture of Nadeshiko wearing the same bride's dress that she had in Syaoran's picture of her and Ryurin, and Fujitaka said it was for a high school production. Sakura and her friends were over at Tomoyo's talking about how Syaoran must have split personality. When he came in, Sakura told him about Nadeshiko's dress. Tsunomi received a heated call from Tomoyo's father, and everyone left to give Tomoyo privacy. Melin was shocked when she learned that Sakura was on her own. At the Lees, Melin confronted Syaoran about his split personality, and he told her he didn't want to live that way anymore. In the middle of the night, Melin heard something outside. A clown popped out to cause havoc, and she passed out on the sidewalk. When she came to, Syaoran told her to go back to Hong Kong for her own safety. He told her that he learned that the Dark Ones made his father give up his love for Nadeshiko, and Melin realized that was why he was acting strange around Sakura. Sakura wasn't managing living alone very well, from struggling to do everything and missing meals. Tomoyo told Sakura that her father wanted her to go to Tokyo, but Tsunomi refused. She looked sad and tired, but covered it up. When practicing for the carnival, the Dark Force, the Joker, injured several students. Takashi warned Sakura about the Kaiju magician who is notorious for stealing priceless treasures without getting caught. Sakura hurt her ankle because of the force, and when they were waiting for it at night, they found Kaiju magician with a cape and sapphire ring around his neck, instead of being chased by the police. He surveyed them and left. The Joker came to Sakura's house, and before collapsing in pain from her ankle, she called for Syaoran. He sensed her and smashed the window to get her in and burned the wall to combat against the Joker. He brought Sakura home with him and insisted that she stayed with him in Melin. Circus Carnival. I actually always wanted to cosplay as the Sakura and Malin's acrobat outfits. I think it was black leotards and tights. Like I think it was this black outfit with a sparkly red skirt. I'm like, oh, that looked easy enough. So I think I'm low key on the hunt for like that sparkly red.
That would be cute.
I was actually also charmed at the idea of Takashi and Chiharu as clowns, that I drew a fan art of them on Microsoft Paint. So I'm going to show it to Melanie now.
Oh, that's so cute. That Takashi is perfect.
Yeah, so all this time when I first started drawing for New Trials, I only worked with Microsoft Paint, and I only drew objects. And this is the first time that I actually drew people, and this was December 2007.
So good.
Yeah, and I even wrote, I'm no good at drawing people, but I spent a lot of time on these two, and I'm happy with the way they came out.
Yeah, they're so good.
So I'm going to definitely share that on the group. Okay. I liked everybody's roles. Syaoran as a magician is like the most ironic thing ever.
Yes. Well, and I don't know why, I know we'll get to it eventually here pretty soon, but I don't know why he didn't think of sooner of using actual magic and just pretending that, it's magic trick. I feel like that's the first thing I would think of if I was an actual magician.
Well, to jump forward, we get that scene, but it's just, his magic is just too advanced that people will be like, no, it's actually impossible. It's like, how can I do this and this? Like, was it levitating, putting the oven on fire? So I don't think he can scale back to a point where it's like, yeah, sure, I don't know how you did it, but I believe that you did it for no, he doesn't want to blow his cover. So Syaoran and Melin, they go White Day shopping, and it was sweet. And I'm glad that we got to see Takashi step up to the plate with a proper present for Chiharu.
So, hold on. So, is White Day a thing in Canada?
Not at all. It's really only in Japan, from what I understand.
Okay.
So Basically, Valentine's Day, it's pretty universal. Everybody, sort of celebrates it in one way or the other, or not. But, it's definitely very commercialized. It's like the Hallmark holiday. Whereas White Day is more about, reciprocity. It's like, you did something nice for me a month ago, I'm going to do something nice for you.
Oh, so it's like a month later.
Exactly 1 month later.
Oh, so it's March 14th.
March 14th.
Oh, I don't know why I didn't know that.
Yeah, and if you go into, the CCS manga, you're going to... There's a chapter where Sakura, she has a whole bunch of White Day presents that she gives to all her friends because everybody gave her Valentine's Day gifts.
Yeah, because White Day is not a thing here in America, whatsoever.
No, it's not a white thing in Canada, too. The only reason I know about it is just fan fiction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah, so they go White Day shopping, and that's that. So poor Syaoran is never able to dodge getting printed in a newspaper.
He's just so good looking. He's just so camera ready.
Yeah, first it was Angels in New York, and then it was Giving Roses to Erica. It's like the guy, he can't catch a break. And he doesn't even, it's left to his own defenses. He doesn't even want to be in that position. Fast forward to arc 4 when he's modeling with Sakura. He's like, okay, I'll do it if you don't see my face.
Right.
I thought it was really sweet that Syaoran did get Sakura a gift. I think that's a lot of Melin influence right there.
Yes. I love that he put his foot down about how he really wanted the peony, though, and not the rose.
Yeah.
I think that's very sweet. And I think that's kind of telling, too, that, because if he really didn't care about Sakura, he wouldn't care about what flower he gave her.
Yeah.
So, and I know he doesn't understand the symbolism of it quite, but to me it shows that if he was doing it just for Melin and didn't really care, he would just been like, okay, whatever, I'll just do the rose because that's tradition. But the fact he knew he was giving something to Sakura and it was important for him to have a peony, I think just kind of shows his true intentions.
Yeah. In this moment, I was like, well, he couldn't give it to her, but it's the thought that counts. But, Sakura didn't even know that Syaoran was thinking about her. So, I do like the scene that we have with Melin and Syaoran, where it's it shows his reactions. Aaron, he sees Aaron giving Sakura a rose, and then with the Syaoran and Melin scene, we see how Syaoran is actually feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because otherwise he's just going to keep it bottled inside.
Maitland whacking some wisdom into him once more.
So I felt so sad for Sakura when both her brother and father and Kira-chan were leaving.
Yes.
Like, but I do love how this, like, leads to her living with Syaoran. But just, like, imagine if you're a teenager and then your whole family just takes off. And, like, yeah, Sakura does have an edge. She is the woman of the household. She's very responsible for her age. But there's only so much a person can handle.
Have you ever lived by yourself?
So I lived with my parents until I got married. And then, like, my wedding was July 3rd, and we got possession of the house July 1st. So we spent the first 2 days of July getting the house ready, and then after the wedding we moved into the house. And then I was with my ex for 10 years until we went our separate ways. And then that's when I started living alone, and it was the pandemic. So it was like, so I was lonely, but luckily during this time this is when I really threw myself into new trials, and I stepped up my cosplay game. So this is when I started buying pieces from Wish and assembling them, and I did like Sakura's birthday outfit, I did Maitland's racetrack outfit, I made Sakura's birthday dress. So this really unlocked like my creativity. And then in the middle of the pandemic, I have a cousin who's like 11 years older than me, and we reconnected. And I lived in Quebec, and we literally had a lockdown at 8:00 p.m. in 2021. Nobody was allowed to leave their house unless you were working. And so every night at 8:00, I would go on Facebook Messenger video, and we would just chat for hours. So even though I was alone, I wasn't lonely.
Yeah.
And then by August, September, I was dating my boyfriend, and it was only a matter of months that we were like together 24/7. So that was the end of my living alone era.
Yeah. I have literally never been on my own. Well, sorta, because, I lived with my mom, obviously, for years. And then even when I would do stuff in New York, you're sharing a big house with, like, lots of different girls, and I was only ever there, like, a couple weeks at a time. And then Pete pretty much had his own place when we started dating, because I was 18 and he was 24, so he already kind of had his own apartment and stuff. So, and we didn't officially live together, where I was on the lease and stuff, until we were leased together for like 3 or 4 years. And so I went from like my mom to kind of like just basically bunking with Pete and staying with Pete. And then even when I kind of like went off to like do a little bit of college kind of in between there, I was actually living with like my best friend's parents too. So I've never been on my own. And I can only think of, there was one night where Pete was going to be at a concert, and because it was forever away from our house, he was going to have to stay there overnight. And it dawned on me right when he left that was the first night ever in my entire life I was going to be completely 100% by myself. And you guys, don't ask me why, but I thought this is a great night to watch Train to Busan.
Oh no.
Which, if you guys don't know, is a South Korean zombie movie, which I highly recommend it. It's so good. Has Gone Yu. He's amazing. But anyways, why I thought that would be a great idea, who knows? But I was so freaked out all night. I even went and got like a kitchen knife, and I slept with the kitchen knife by the bed. And why I thought a kitchen knife would protect me against zombies, who knows? But anyway, so when Pete came home the next morning, he's like, why is there a kitchen knife? Anyways.
Wow.
Because I mean, you have pets and stuff, but like still, it's not like having like another human companion with you. But anyways.
Well, I definitely learned a lot living alone, and I don't consider myself as much of a cook. Like mind you, it's not like if I constantly eat out, but let's just say the Instant Pot became my best friend.
And I'm kind of surprised at Sakura a little bit with how much she did struggle, because, like there'd be days here where she would just forget to eat for like 2 days, or she was like really kind of struggling being on her own. And, that kind of surprised me just a little bit, but I guess it kind of makes sense because she was also having to keep up with all the house duties completely on her own, too.
Exactly, because when you're living with other people, there's the schedule, there's a routine, and if, like, the people aren't there in the picture, you kind of slack off, or you just fall behind. Like, Cameron is the cook in our couple, and he's like constantly making me delicious food, but I'm in Kansas and he doesn't have anybody to cook for, so he's just going, he's calling it his hunger strike. The poor boy is like forgetting to eat. So
that's right, I forgot. That's hilarious that it kind of matches that. So yeah, it makes sense because you really do get into like a routine when you live with somebody. So yeah, makes sense.
I love how shocked Sakura was when she learned that Fujitaka loved someone before meeting Nadeshiko. It just shows, like, the teenage mind. It's like, this is life as I know it, and before that, nothing else has happened. So, through their conversation, we learned that Nadeshiko was in a school play. So does that mean they did Phantom of the Opera and wrote Star-Crossed but never performed Star-Crossed?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that's how I've interpreted it.
Okay. So we finally get a Sakura and Syaoran scene. And unfortunately, there were misunderstandings because they couldn't communicate properly. What else is new for our SNS?
Goodness.
So, and I like the girls' night because we finally get a confirmation that we're not the only ones who thinks that Syaoran has a split personality.
Yes. And what was funny to me was as I was reading that scene and kind of re-recording it for the audiobook, I was like, oh yeah, girls' night. They're just chatting. And then all of a sudden Syaoran just kind of pops up and they're like, yeah, we're saying you have a split personality.
It's like girls' night plus Syaoran as an accessory. Because even me, it's like I knew Syaoran was there. I'm like, it's a girls' night. Girls trump boys. It's like there's more girls. It's a girls' night. Syaoran is at girls' night. I think they were probably talking about the musical or something like that. I'm sure they were doing that. But I'm sorry, Syaoran, you're outnumbered.
I just love that they were just completely talking about him, even though he was there.
So I knew Tomoyo's father was going to enter the picture, but I didn't know that his introduction was this soon. But, like, now that I think about it, Sakura used Tomoyo's family drama to excuse herself from not staying with her while her family was away. So that makes sense. And I'm glad she told Melin and Syaoran, though. And, like that scene where it's like, Syaoran's walking her home. It's like, Syaoran, it's like, we don't, like, you're the wrong way. It's like, no, that's okay. I'm taking the long way. It's like, we see you, Syaoran.
And, I really like that. I mean, not only is it a plot device for Sakura to go live with Syaoran for a little bit, but also, like, again, I love that she's kind of developing, the side characters. Like, because that was one thing I always wondered about Tomeo as well. Where's her dad? What happened to her dad? And as someone who has their own dad issues, this kind of chapter and then where the parents, like, really reign true to me. And, yeah, it's going to be interesting kind of seeing going forward and stuff with the other chapters. I also like how Melin and Sakura all still got closer during this period of time. For sure.
It's like, yeah, and then we have like Melin who's like breaking through Syaoran's tough exterior by confronting him with the problem, and he's like, Syaoran's going through it. It's like we don't know it, but he knows stuff that he's not sharing with anybody else. And it's like he realized that the dark ones showed his father. It's like you can't have a future with Nishiko, so just like walk away from her. But nobody else really knows that but him. So the Joker attacks. I forgot that Melin was its first victim, and Syaoran was quick to tend to her. But that's when he got into his, like, major existential issues. At first I thought it was Melin's split personality. Like, I really thought that it was all this talk about split personality that pushed him to the edge. But this is when we realize that he opens up to Melin about what he knows and what he hasn't shared about why Riren had to walk away.
Yeah, so good.
So we see that Sakura isn't adapting to being alone like she thought she would. I even have a question here. Have you ever been in a scenario where you had to live alone for an extended period of time? Looks like I got my answer.
Beat you to it.
Mm-hmm. We get our first mention of the Kaito magician.
Yay!
You pronounce it as Kaito in the audiobook, but like reading my notes, I see the U, and I'm just gonna tell you now. I'm just gonna say Kaito.
Yeah. Again, we all probably pronounce it differently in our heads, so there you go.
Yes, I am so excited. I like how Mei-Lin was just one of the girls who were gushing over him. Oh, if only she knew the journey that she was gonna have with this boy.
Oh, so funny. So funny.
So meanwhile, the Joker is causing havoc at Seiju, including Sakura twisting her ankle.
Mm.
The police sirens that you added in the audiobook was very cool, and you must have had fun playing with the sound effect.
Although I do think it's probably a little bit too loud, and I might need to like tone it down before I go to post it. But
You know, if people are listening to it in the car,
yeah, they're gonna be like, "The cops coming after me."
And we get our first real Kaito magician sighting with the sapphire ring.
Yay!
So, Sakura gets attacked by the Joker. I love that Syaoran since Sakura was in trouble. So this is probably like one of the first hints of the telepathy that we're going to see in the future.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And,
well, and it was already kind of foreshadowed on the
Yes.
cliff scene, too, because
Yes.
he also knew she was in trouble there, so...
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because, but like in the end, even though Sakura got attacked by the Joker, it's a relief that this did happen so that Syaoran could intervene and like bring her home.
Oh my god, and I love that he was so mad that he like blasted out such a huge thing of power at the Joker.
Yeah.
Oh, I freaking love that he was so mad that he just like, and then Maitland's like, well, technically you can't go home because Syaoran kind of destroyed your house.
Yep. And that wraps up our chapter. For Dark Forces Corner, we have the Joker wreaking havoc, but no capture. For fan art spotlight, I'd like to highlight Thief by Asume, aka Maria. It was posted in June 2008. Now, back when I did my New Trials Reread blog back in 2017, I used this as my cover art for Kaito Magician and the Diamond Necklace, because I thought he was holding a diamond necklace. But after reading this chapter, I went back to look at this picture, and clearly he's holding a necklace with a sapphire ring on it.
Oh, that's so fun. I don't really picture it with the gold band, though, in my head. I picture it as white gold. How do you picture it?
Honestly, it's the sapphire that just gets all my attention. Mm-hmm. So whether it's gold band, whether it's yellow band, I have absolutely no idea.
Yeah.
But
that's hilarious.
Just the fact that like I saw this picture and it's like, oh look, it's Kaito Magician and the diamond necklace.
And is he wearing his locket?
No, that's a clasp for his cape. This was before the locket was introduced. So this was really the first time, like, so Maria, when she drew him, it was like all silhouette.
Right. Yes.
And that there he was holding the sapphire ring on a chain. But like at first glance, I always thought it was the diamond necklace because of the literal chapter titled Kaito Magician and the Diamond Necklace. But now that we're actually taking your time and going through doing a deep dive, I'm like, let me look at this picture again. And I'm like, oh my god, that's not a diamond, that's a ring.
Too funny.
Okay, on to the author's notes.
All right. So we have Wish-chan. So, Sakura-chan comes to live with the Lees. Isn't it sudden that everyone leaves in the family? Actually, it isn't. It was planned for months. Oh no! What will we ever do without Toya, Fujato, Yukito, and Kiro-chan? Hee hee, Sakura will manage fine. You can look forward to the next chapters and more S&S to come. Hee hee. How long have I been promising this? But I do plan to carry this out.
Wish-chan. She loves to tease.
Oh man, these are some of my favorite chapters coming up. Like, we've talked about this for months now, that we both really love the trope of characters living together.
Yes. And like right now they're a trio, but like very soon that's gonna change and we're gonna have lots of fun.
Mm-hmm, for sure.
You have been listening to New Trials, the podcast, or It Must Rain for There to Be a Rainbow.
You've been listening to New Trials, the podcast. Please be sure to check out the audiobook version of this podcast that you can find on YouTube. Also, please be sure to check out the Facebook fan page for New Trials, where a big part of our discussions happen nowadays, and where you may be highlighted in our Alliance of the Stars section. And please be sure to stick around next week, where we are going to do a very special chapter, which is Sakura's birthday special chapter.